Federal government rescues mother of 4 trafficked to Egypt. 54 students missing in Edo State after attack. On entertainment, rapper Lil Wayne pleads guilty to firearms charges. And in sports, Flying Eagles knocked out of Under-20 World Cup qualifier. Details of these and more after this break. I am Omoye Ogbeide. The police command in Edo State has unveiled plans by criminal elements to rob several banks and commercial centers across the state as youth-tide activities commence. Commissioner of Police in the state, Johnson Kokumo, however, warned that men and officers of the state command have the capacity to deal with any group or any person who wants to cause mayhem before, during, and after the youth-tide. He stated that intelligence gathered suggested that these bandits have procured sophisticated weapons to carry out their nefarious activities and unleash terror on the state. But the police boss assured that adequate security has been put in place toward hitch-free Christmas and New Year celebrations. The CP said already armed personnel carrier and other equipment have been put in place to combat any security breach in the state. While lamenting the release of 2,000 prisoners by hoodlums who hijacked the NSAS protest, he urged the citizens to work with the police by reporting suspicious character to the command. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has facilitated the return of a mother of 4, Omaumi Roda Aladebojeje, allegedly kidnapped to Cairo, Egypt. The 35-year-old was reportedly tricked to Egypt by her elder brother, who informed her about a nursing job in the United States. On receiving a distress call from her family, the commission contacted Nigerian mission in Cairo, who rescued the victim from her captors. Omaumi, who left the country on March 17, 2020, arrived at the Murisla Mohammed International Airport around 2 a.m. on Saturday. She was profiled by immigration officials and handed over to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons in the presence of a representative of her family, Benjamin Akimbobola. A statement by the NIDCOM spokesman, Abdurrahman Balogun, said the Edo State indigene is presently on her way to Okitipupa, her hometown. The statement disclosed that the victim, an auxiliary nurse, was sexually harassed, beaten, and imprisoned at home by her abusers. It said the chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, appealed to youths traveling out to be purposeful and beware of dangerous people trafficking them out of selfish and personal gains. And 54 students are said to be missing after gunmen attacked a secondary school in Edo State, a raid that has led the state government to shut down boarding schools. Gunmen had stormed Government Science Secondary School in Kankara local government area of the state on Friday night, causing students, teachers, and staff members to flee for their lives. A head count in the boarding school on Saturday, amid reports that hundreds of them had been abducted, revealed that 54 students are missing. A member of staff at the school told reporters on the condition of anonymity. The staff said there were 884 students in the school at the time of the attack. Earlier in the day, the spokesperson for the police command in the state, Gambo Isa, and the principal of the school, Usman Abubakar, disclosed that 200 of the students who fled for safety were found by the divisional police officer in the area and returned. Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari on Saturday condemned the bandits' attack on the Government Science Secondary School Kankara in Edo State, where students were reportedly abducted. He has also directed men of the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Police Force to go after the attackers and ensure that no student gets missing or harmed. Buhari's position was contained in a statement by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garba Shehu. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Kubrat, has urged the troops of the Nigerian Army to ignore the move by the International Criminal Court probing the military for war crimes, murder, amongst others. The ICC prosecutor, Fatou Bensouda, had said on Friday that the court had found a reasonable basis to begin investigating members of the Nigerian security forces for crimes against humanity which they allegedly committed in the course of prosecuting the counter-terrorism war in the northeast. Reacting, Burutai, in a statement on Saturday, described the probe by the ICC and the call for global rights group Amnesty International and for ICC to expedite action as wicked and unnecessary distractions. Burutai, however, enjoined the troop to ignore the distractions and called on them not to be demoralized by the moves. He also charged the troops to be guided by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the rules of engagement, the code of conduct, and the standing operating procedures of all Nigerian Army operations. And the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has expressed grief over the passing of the publisher of leadership newspapers, Sam Ida Isaiah. He described as remarkable his dexterity and strides in journalism and nation building. The governor, in a statement on Saturday, noted that Ida Isaiah served Nigeria as a committed patriot and contributed immensely to national development while he lived. The governor added that the late publisher was a firm believer in the Nigerian project, noting that his fervent zeal to drive change would not be forgotten. He prayed for God to grant his family the fortitude to bear the loss incurred. And similarly, the Northern Governors Forum has expressed shock over the death of Sam Ida Isaiah, founder and chairman of the leadership newspaper. This is contained in a condolence message by the chairman of the forum and governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, on Saturday in Jos. Lalong, in a message issued by his Director of Press and Public Affairs, Dr. Makut Makam, described the death as shocking and devastating. He said the death of Ida Isaiah is a sad development not only for the northern region but the nation at large. And coming up in a moment in Extra Voices, the growing number of gas plants and diesel stations has become a talking point due to the danger it poses on residents. Details in a moment after the break.
In the ever-revolving world of news, one story becomes extinct the moment another major story breaks.
Market women don't know whether they be anything.
But with KUFM's Extra Voices, the story never dies. It just takes on a new life.
Market meho.
There's no water in the house. The toilet is not good.
We don't have any fashion in APC.
We bring you new angles and fresh perspectives to every story, no matter how old or remote.
There are a lot of educated people that are involved in politics nowadays.
We go a little beyond the surface to get you those extra details ignored in the rush for the news.
Now bridge, now we take the entire now.
Some don't die for inside.
We go beyond the lines to bring extra voices, not just for those making the stories.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But for those affected by the stories.
I've lost one bag of rice. Documents.
So it's a real disaster.
With Extra Voices, we add new flavor to give fresh perspective and taste to an old story. Extra Voices airs every Wednesday and weekends on KUFM's major news bulletins.
And the sighting of liquefied petroleum gas LPG stations in residential areas are becoming a source of worry to many Benin residents. The people living close to these gas stations have expressed fears about the possible explosion and the resultant loss of lives. In this edition of KUFM's Extra Voices, it takes a look at the growing concerns and the regulatory authorities and what the regulatory authorities are doing about it.
Some Somewhere at Ekewa Road, Benin City on Tuesday, 1st December 2020, a petrol tanker discharging its content caught fire inside a popular filling station. It took the intervention of workers and youth within the area to put out the fire, but that was not before it caused a little harm. Manager of the affected filling station, Theophilus Ehiosun, who was visibly disturbed, said the fire ignited when the petrol tanker discharged its content in one of the storage tanks.
I presume that maybe the flame of the fuel and the heat of the sun are contact together, to my own knowledge, because there was nothing there, no spark, nothing, no iron to iron. So the thing just like a mystery to me. Minor, not major. 2 of my workers got burned, though they rushed to hospital.
So thank God, the entire community people, they join out to make sure they put out the fire. So God be the glory. If not for their cooperation, Almighty God, the whole community would have been in a state of disaster.
Some of those who helped in putting out the fire thank God, while blaming the government for giving approval for siting filling stations and gas stations in residential areas.
Why is gas? Because gas is even more dangerous than the fuel, because this one is here. If similar something like what just happened now happen situation like this one will be worse than this, because this one is here and this one is free from this one.
The truth of the matter is that all filling stations are supposed to have fire extinguisher. I know it expired. They're supposed to check it in a routine every time that you will check the fire extinguisher.
This experience easily reminds one of a similar gas plant explosion at Ubo village area of Benin City in February 2018, which claimed 3 lives, leaving several others with severe burns injuries. Lately, it has become common to come across cooking gas plants and fuel stations springing up within residential areas, sometimes in densely populated areas in Benin City. For instance, along the Ekewa Road, close residential area is a fuel station and a gas plant station at Plymouth Road, built in the middle of a residential and business zone. This business owner, who identified himself as Peter, says walking during the day near the gas station could be frightening, as the highly inflammable liquid poses a great danger to those living around.
You wake up every day and sleep every day with a great apprehension, but there's really nothing or little you can do about it, because these people, I believe, they operate with a license. So if the regulatory body issued a license to them, it just shows that the citizens don't have a say, because nobody asked any question before this license was issued to this plant very close to the house. In short, the distance between the fence and where we are talking from is actually less than 6 feet. So you can imagine how close we are to the hazard.
Meanwhile, the youth were angry with men of the Federal Fire Service who came to the scene of the fire incident after they had put out the fire.
We start calling the fire extinguisher, they did not come. But at the end of the day, after we finished, we managed to off the thing. But we thank God that God had made sure everything was okay. After the thing was, we tried to off the thing. Before we now saw they were coming. That is the reason I'm angry. That we don't have any. We called them for more than 30 minutes. There was nothing that was being done. Now they are here. Now they are feeding everything around. What are they doing here? I've already off everything.
But what are the regulatory requirements for siting gas or fuel stations in cities? Extra Voices spoke with Benin Operation Controller of the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, Engineer Ebi Ogewon. The DPR is the federal government agency responsible for the approval of gas and petrol stations before construction. Engineer Ogewon told Extra Voices that approval mechanism is a chain process which begins with Site Suitability Assessment, SSA.
If anybody wants to set up an LPG plant of between 0.1 to 10 metric tons capacity, it is expected that from that LPG tank that they want to set up to the boundary of the nearest residential building, they must maintain a distance of minimum of 30 meters to create a safety buffer.
He also spoke on the location of liquefied petroleum gas stations in residential areas in city centers.
The federal government has a policy of deepening gas penetration all over the country. After we must have licensed an LPG plant in a place and has started operating, we have constraints to be going about monitoring development as they are coming in. to these areas and coming closer to the LPG plants where they are located. We do not have control over that. Of course, that is where we will need the support of the respective state Ministry of Urban Development. So it is with that we need to actually sit down and educate, probably where they are not aware of some of the provisions of our safety rules in our guidelines.
With the rapid pace of urbanization, which sees new structures constantly springing up everywhere, every time, regulatory agencies apparently needs to be many steps ahead in the planning process and ensure strict adherence to city layout plans. Otherwise, a gas plant today could be a populated neighborhood tomorrow. For KUFM's Extra Voices, Lemedum Asagwaram.
And coming up in a moment in entertainment news, Lil Wayne pleads guilty to weapons charge, faces 10 years in prison. Listen more on entertainment news. News done on KU 92.7 FM Benin City. In some entertainment story, rapper Lil Wayne is facing up to 10 years in prison after pleading guilty to a federal charge that he possessed a handgun despite being a convicted felon. Lil Wayne Dwayne Michael Carter, 38, entered the plea on Friday during a hearing held remotely before United States District Judge Kathleen Williams, who is based in South Florida. The judge set a sentencing date for January the 28th. Carter is currently free on $250,000 bail, but has to surrender his passport. The Lollipop rapper admitted possessing a .45 caliber gold-plated handgun and 6 rounds of ammunition after his private plane was searched by federal agents on arriving in Miami from California on 23 December 2019. A search warrant said Carter told investigators the gun was a Father's Day gift. Carter already has a felony gun conviction dating back to 2009. He was sentenced to 8 months in a New York prison for that offense, and convicted felons are subsequently barred under federal law from possessing firearms. Carter's lawyer, Howard Sprinek, said he considered a motion to suppress the search of the plane as a violation of the rapper's constitutional rights. He said Carter wanted to accept responsibility. And that's it from entertainment. In sports, Anthony Joshua knocks out challenger Pulev in 9th round. Details of this when we come back. In a battle for the WBO, IBF, IBO, WBA World Heavyweight titles, Anthony Joshua knocked down mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev 4 times to secure a knockout in the 9th round. They were initially scheduled to fight in 2017, with Pulev being forced to withdraw with a shoulder injury. He was replaced by Carlos Takam, who Joshua stopped. Fast forward to 2020, a date was set down in June and later postponed due to coronavirus pandemic. The fighting started with jabs to the body by both men. It was a jabbing match for the most part, with Joshua having the slight edge. They were back to the jabs in the second. Bulgarian Pulev had Joshua on the back foot. He was comfortable with boxing off the jab and allowing Pulev to come forward. Joshua began to pick up the pace with his punch output as the round played out. Joshua continued to fight off the jab in the third. Pulev was hurt all of the ring before he was dropped by a hook for a second time. He managed to hold and survive the bell. The strong man continued to jab in the 7th, but threw a big combination of power shots that Pulev was able to weather. He was jabbing very often to the body and dropped him hard with an uppercut. Pulev was hurt and in serious trouble when he got up. A right hand sent Pulev down for a 4th time, this time for the full count, as Pulev was unable to get up. And Nigeria has been knocked out of the Under-20 WAFU Cup being held in Benin Republic after Cote d'Ivoire beat Ghana 1-0 on Saturday. The Flying Eagles needed Ghana to beat Cote d'Ivoire by at least a 2-goal margin on Saturday to have a chance of qualifying for the WAFU Cup for last fall. Failure to advance in the WAFU Cup means the Eagles cannot be eligible to participate in the 2021 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations and the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. The team finished with 1 point from 2 games in the group stages, drawing 1-1 with Cote d'Ivoire and losing 1-0 to Ghana. And that's it from sports, and that's the news. But before we go, a quick recap of the headlines. Police uncover plots to rob banks in Benin. Federal government rescues mother of 4 trafficked to Egypt. And 54 students missing in Edo State after attack. Do remember that the continuity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. Do not forget you can listen to us anywhere in the world by visiting our website at www.kufm.net or download our mobile app from the Google Play Store. We are also live on YouTube at KUFM Nigeria, and you can also listen to us on radiogarden.com. KFM's News Dawn was produced by Nusahai Uwadiai. I am Amoya Ubaide saying thanks for listening. Good morning.
KUFM.
Osani mega ore me agogo. Osani mega ore